Keeping the focus on Tobago on this Tobago Thursday because the Tobago House of Assembly will launch Carnival in Tobago with a Carnival concert Bago Jam on Independence Day next week, Thursday, August 31st. And so joining us this morning to discuss more about it is film director of the Tobago Performing Arts Company, Mr. Jared Primer. Mr. Primer, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
So happy to have you join us. And of course, before we get into the concert, just remind us about who the Tobago Performing Arts Company is.
Well, the Tobago Performing Arts Company is the premier arts company on the island. And of course, with a focus on developing cultural capacity, performance capacity on the island. So, and as people would know by now, because we're very popular now,
Of
and we
course.
have arms of music, dance, drama, and film.
Yes. And how did the Performing Arts Company get involved in this particular project?
Well, the company being a special purpose company with the Tobago House of Assembly, us being in the arts, and of course us having the technical skills for production management and so on. Sometimes the THA would ask us to really kind of spearhead these events. Last year, we were a main proponent in the first installment of Bago Jam, and of course, Bago Jam was a hit last year. So we were asked to do it again and really launch the carnival in this way.
Nice. And so tell us about Bago Jam, because I know that what our viewers are seeing on the screen are a bunch of performances, some of the people who will be performing as well. So tell us about it. It's taking place next week, Thursday. Tell us where it's taking place and some of the acts we can see.
Right. So let's talk about the event itself, because of course, it's a well-curated event that just really brings, of course, all the elements of Carnival, the soca, the mass, and for Tobago, of course, we have to talk about food and cultural items. And we are bringing all that together to you to launch our brand of Carnival. And that's happening, as you said, next week, Thursday, Independence Day. And we have Pan, we have big acts, we have Bungee Garland, we have a local acts, we have a space for us to really kind of showcase the talents of Tobago and really bring forward what the Tobago Carnival is all about. We will even be showcasing some of our bands, right? So it's really the space where you will see everything and really get the full start of what Carnival is for Tobago.
Yeah. Now, I saw on the advert that we just saw there, it's beginning at 5:30 p.m., is it? And where is it taking place?
Right. So we are at Shore Park in the car park. So we're going to have our nice festival grounds created in Shore Park complex, well, outside in the car park. And we're starting at 5:30 because we really want to bring that cultural aspect. So at 5:30, you're going to be met with rhythm section. You're going to have your Moko Jumbi. You're going to have your characters for Carnival. Of course, the ones that are even more indicative to Tobago will also be on display. Traditional mud and so on. All these things will be happening at 5:30, and then the concert itself begins at 6 p.m.
Interesting. So you're actually giving people a taste of the carnival before the carnival comes along.
Precisely. You're getting a taste of the carnival in terms of the traditional, because Tobago is very big on the traditional. And as the concert goes on, we have a space inside there for our formal bands to showcase. And let me just call a few names. Of course, you mentioned Foggy Angels, but we have Blush, we have Island Lava Mass, we have Sunfest, we have Iconic. And we can't leave out, of course, Tobago's Mud is Life, the Mud Band.
Of course, who we would have interviewed this year and had a grand time with. But I also want to ask, because I know that it was a deliberate effort or a deliberate decision to have this Bago Jam on Independence Day. And so how does that tie into our country also celebrating independence?
Well, for us, it's really important for us to celebrate freedom, which is what independence really kind of reminds us of our freedom as a country, our ability to be able to do these things, to really kind of stamp your mark. And for us, we thought it was best to kind of join those two iconic events, of course, independence of our country, and Tobago really stamping its mark as creating our own carnival and so on. So the marriage of the two to us was the best choice.
Yeah. And I also asked that because I know that you're coming off of the heels of Tobago Heritage Festival. And so I'm wondering about the timing. Was it too soon, or may it have been too soon after Tobago Heritage and all that heritage that people would have seen to have this? Or is there no particular time to celebrate culture?
There is no particular time for us. Tobago celebrates culture all through the year. As in, we are constantly busy throughout the year, because after Heritage, you still have your fisherman events, you still have your harvest events and so on happening. And of course, we just came out of Commonwealth. So Tobago has been, as some people say, a whole bumper season of events happening. So there's no time like now. And of course, celebrating independence, really bringing people together, because independence in Tobago is a massive thing, a big thing. People come out in the droves for fireworks. And of course, your fireworks now will be in Bago Jam.
Fireworks will be in Bago Jam. And so you mentioned that sort of bumper to bumper season that Tobago's experiencing, of course, in the lead up to October and beyond. And so how do we see this impacting the economy in Tobago?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to touch on what has happened recently with Cal and so on, but we're hoping that things kind of get smoothed out. But last year, we really saw an increase in visitors, of course, people really being excited about what's happening in Tobago, because it's not just carnival events, but we have been curating a whole sort of cultural activity within the period. We've seen an influx of persons to the island, and of course, that will generate, of course, more revenue. We are boosting economic activity, which is the point of this Tobago Carnival as well.
Yeah. Mr. Primer, I know you said that you don't want to touch the Cal issue, but it is a very real issue. From what we're hearing on the ground, the schedule has returned to normal and the inter-island air bridge is also working. But is there any concern going into next week, Thursday, that you may not get the type of crowds that you anticipate because people may not be able to travel freely?
Well, like I said, I mean, I'm going to leave that full discussion to those above my pay grade. However,
Yeah.
I am being hopeful. I'm happy that things are smooth. They're back flowing again with regards to Canada flights, because we have a number of people from Trinidad who have been buying our tickets online.
Right.
Of course, the Tobagoans are buying the tickets in droves. That our early birds have been sold out completely. And the early birds is something we could talk about, us celebrating the 61st independence, or tickets were $61, and then of course you have
very nice. Okay, that's a nice one.
General, yeah. And are we talking Bungee Garden, Super Blue? We talking Tam Tam? We talking Pretty? We talking Sherwin, Winchester for $161? I can't beat that.
Wow, 161. I love the price. And of course, this you can also buy it online, as you mentioned, but tickets will be available at the door as well, at the venue.
So tickets are available at the door. We're encouraging patrons to come to Shaw Park Complex. You could come to the TPAC offices in Shaw Park, get your tickets, your physical tickets. And of course, you can go online at www.witix.com. You can get your tickets there as well. And of course, if you want any information, you can go to Welcome Tobago on our socials, welcometobago.com, and of course, Tobago Performing Arts to get all the information on Bago Jam.
Well, let's talk about the performing arts company's involvement in Tobago Carnival itself. I mean, how can we see you being a part of that celebration as we look forward to October?
Well, let me hope that my CEO gives me the clearance here, but I will expose a few things. Because of course, like we said, we are curating this carnival experience. It's more than just the road experience. We have to dive into our culture, and we are celebrating Calypso Rose. We're having a musical called Queen of the Road, written by a Tobagonian, and of course, Roma Spencer. And that is happening within the Tobago Carnival as well. So you can look out for that. And then I just saw, just to mention a few other items happening, Davy Rudder is also having a concert as well during that period. So it's a number of things happening, but the Tobago Performing Arts Company will bring you that cultural and performative experience with this Calypso musical Queen of the Road. So don't miss that. You have to be in Tobago for Carnival.
Don't miss that. You have to be in Tobago for Carnival. And do we anticipate the kind of crowds you would have seen? Because I know that last year would have been the inaugural showing. Of course, everybody was coming because they were curious about what this thing is. But now that you have branded yourself as having this festival in October, do you anticipate the crowds or even more than we would have seen last year?
Definitely. We really got a large number of people coming to the island and just coming out and supporting the carnival. We don't expect anything less this year, even more, in fact. And that is really just based on how we've been seeing the ticket sales going for Bago Jam.
Yes.
I mean, Bago Jam last was a free event. Of course, people are curious. They came out. They had a wonderful time. This year, even with the $61 and the $161, people are buying their tickets in the 10s and 20s. So we are seeing the excitement for the festival really growing. We're thankful for that. And of course, the festival, we're in our learning stages and we are going to build on the product. So the Tobago Carnival is getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah. What is the atmosphere like on the ground? Because we're in Trinidad, we don't know exactly how it is. And few of us who are coming across, well, plenty of us who are coming across for Bago Jam, of course, you will get the excitement when we land. But what is the atmosphere now? Not just as we look forward to Bago Jam, but also to independence. We're celebrating 61.
Well, Tobago has actually been very festive. We've noticed that festive energy starting from as early as Easter, and it doesn't cool down until before September. Now that the Tobago Carnival is here, that festivity just kind of rolls right into October. So far, there's a buzz of excitement really happening. People are excited about Bago Jam. They're excited about the carnival itself. The bands have been reported that people are registering to play mass on the road in Tobago. It's really an excitement is just brewing in the space, and we're really happy about that.
Yeah. Now, you would have mentioned that Bago Jam, of course, this is the second year. It happened last year. It was a grand affair. It was successful. But what usually happens in Tobago for independence?
Okay, so in Tobago for independence, we have our fireworks display. Now, it sounds like it's just fireworks, but people are just happy to come out in the atmosphere and just really take in fireworks from any picturesque location, which is basically everywhere in Tobago. Everywhere is picturesque, right? So
good one, yes.
People come out in the red, white, and black, and it's like you can drive on the road. It's like a whole sea of people that's there waiting to see this fireworks to celebrate our independence. And of course, now we're saying, come to Bago Jam, you're going to get your fireworks display. You might even get a little more than fireworks in Bago Jam, eh?
Ensure that you see, you'll give you permission to share that one, Mr. Primer?
Well, we're not always giving spoilers. Every time I look for me here, you get a little spoiler. You might get a little double whammy of the fireworks in Bago Jam. So I'm just saying, don't miss out on that.
Nice. Well, before you go, Mr. Primer, just...
As well, yeah.
No, go ahead, continue.
I was just saying that we want to invite our patrons to come out, of course, nationally dressed, red, white, and black. That's the color scheme for the event. Let's just celebrate our independence, and of course, let's bring in the Tobago Carnival in Bago Jam.
Yes. And I just have to ask one more question, Mr. Primer. For those who say this might be a kind of jam thing as opposed to a cultural explosion or a cultural showing, any words for them?
Well, this is being sold as a family experience, right? Because last year we had, of course, the components early up for the kids. Of course, you're learning about your culture at 5:30 p.m. when the doors open. We have, of course, our artistic director, Rachel Pierre, who will be programming a really wonderful experience for the patrons, dealing with the rhythm section, from the rhythm section straight into the carnival characters. That interaction is happening. And then we're going to get into our acts. And of course, we're showcasing our Tobago acts as well as our heavy hitters from Trinidad. So those who come for everything, you're going to get a little everything, right? You're going to get a little jam, but you're also going to get that cultural experience, which is really what the Tobago Carnival is all about.
Yeah. And finally, before you go, remind us where we can get those tickets. Is it 61 and 161 you mentioned?
Yes. So the early birds sadly are finished. All right. So sorry about that. So it's $61 finished, but you could definitely get your $161 tickets at Shaw Park in Tobago. You can get them online at www.witix.com. And of course, we're not going to turn anybody door, which is not going to be 161. You might pay a little more.
You're going to have to pay more.
Yes, but it's definitely worth the little more if you didn't get your tickets on time to be part of Bago Jam. Don't miss this experience.
Yeah, you have definitely sold it to me, Mr. Primer. So I know everybody who has their tickets or people who are thinking about it will go to the website and purchase. Let me thank you so much for joining us this morning. All the best with the event this year. And I can imagine how bigger things are going to get next year as well. So congratulations in advance.
Thank you very much, and I hope I see you there as well.
I will try. We'll see. Manifest it. Manifest it.
Go and get your boat ticket or your plane ticket, and make sure you're in Bago Jam, eh?
Yes, Mr. Primer. And that, of course, was Mr. Jared Primer from the Tobago Performing Arts Company, just telling us about Bago Jam. They are launching their carnival next week, Thursday, at Shaw Park from 5:30 p.m. It's going to be a grand cultural affair. Ladies.
Jared, you're not going to recognize Kimberly. She'll be covered in mud because that's what she likes.
True story. True story. True story. I love Juve to my heart.
So I checked the flights.
Wow.
Because, you know, see what's going on, leaving on Thursday morning, of course. But unfortunately, there are no flights available at this time.
EJ,
see what
Bago
happens.
Jam?
I was thinking about it, you know. You really sold it to me.
Micah's laughing at you. I don't know why.
He's going to get to the beach. Uncle
Okay,
Sheldon's
right. He has to get to the beach. As he mentioned, everywhere in Tobago is a beautiful sight and scene, and of course, their beaches are beautiful. So let me thank Mr. Primer. Of course, remember, Bago Jam is taking place next week, Thursday, at Shore Park on Independence Day. But for now, we're going to take a break and come right back. This is the Now Morning Show.